So before we actually start writing lines of VBA code, it is important to understand what the VBA language consists of. The VBA language consists of many different things, but the three main elements are objects, methods, and properties. So let's start with objects. Objects are an element of the Excel application. So a few examples of objects could be a workbook, a worksheet, a chart or a shape, and the list goes on and on. And every object has properties and methods associated to it. A method is an action that the object can perform. Let's say that we had the worksheet object. Well, the actions that we can do with this object is either copy the worksheet, select the worksheet, or delete the worksheet. So those are methods, because that's what the worksheets object can perform. And lastly, we have properties. And properties are attributes of an object. So let's take the worksheet object again. A property of the worksheets object would be the worksheet name. Another property would be a range of cells within that worksheet. Well, properties actually hold values. So we can change those values to alter a property of an object. And like I said before, there are so many objects, methods, and properties within Excel that it's almost impossible to remember them all. But if you want to take a look at all the objects within Excel and see what methods and properties are associated to those objects, inside of our Visual Basic editor, we can come up to our toolbar and click this box that says Object Browser. And here we are provided a list of all the objects within Excel. So let's go find that Worksheets object that I mentioned in the previous examples. We can scroll down our list all the way to the W's and click on our Worksheet object. Now inside of this Worksheet object, we have a list of all its methods and properties. The lightning bolt symbolizes an event, and this green symbol is a method, and the gray symbol is a property. So one of the methods that I mentioned before for the worksheet object was copy, because this is an action that we can perform on the worksheet object. Same thing goes for the delete method. Now one of the properties that I mentioned for the worksheet object were the cells on the worksheet. And you can see if I click this property, down below it says property cells. And we can keep scrolling. And another property is the name of the worksheet or a range of cells on a worksheet. Now within this worksheet object, we have the range property. But I do want to mention that properties can also be objects. For example, if I scroll to the R's in our object list, we can see that range is an object as well. And these are all the properties and methods that the range object consists of. Now I know this looks like a lot, but once you start writing code over and over again, all these objects, methods, and properties will almost start to come naturally to you. It just takes a lot of practice to know which methods and properties go with which object. So before we move on to the next video, let me show you a simple line of code that includes objects, methods, and properties. So let's start with the worksheets object. And then we can specify the name of the worksheet that we are dealing with. So let's say the name of this worksheet was called test. And we have to surround the worksheet name with parentheses and quotation marks. So that's our object. And then one of the properties for the worksheets object is the range. So we can put dot range and then we need to specify the range that we are dealing with. So let's say that we are trying to change cell A1. Once again, we have to surround our cell address with parentheses and double quotes. Now, one of the properties of this range is the value. And remember, properties hold values, but we can change those values. So if we type in equals hello, now we are giving this range property a new value. So basically, this line of code reads, on the test worksheet, in cell A1, insert the value of hello. And that's it. Like I said before, it just takes a lot of practice to get the hang of it, but throughout the rest of this course, we will see a lot of lines of code similar to this one.